Welcome to my channel. Old Coins Quarter Dollar Today videos is one you won't miss. We're diving into the world of coins, so let's get it started. The 1944 United States 1-cent coin, known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, is one of the most historically meaningful and widely collected copper coins in American numismatics. It is especially notable because it was struck during the final years of World War II and represents a shift back to the traditional copper alloy after the unique steel cent issue of 1943. The 1944 cent will produce in immense numbers to meet the heavy demand of a nation at war, and as such, it is among the most common wheat cents in existence today. Nonetheless, its connection to wartime history, its variations across different mints, and the existence of rare error types make it an object of fascination for both casual hobbyists and serious numismatists. The coin was issued from three mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S, with all three contributing to a combined mintage of over 2.1 billion coins, an astonishing figure at the time and still one of the highest mintages for any U.S. coin of the era. The composition of the 1944 cent returned to the long-standing 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy, weighing 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a thickness of 1.55 millimeters. This composition gave the coin its characteristic reddish-brown color, although circulation and oxidation have caused most surviving examples to tone to brown shades over time. The obverse front of the 1944 cent continues Victor David Brenner's celebrated portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which had first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The design depicts Lincoln facing right, his thoughtful expression and bearded profile a symbol of leadership, integrity, and unity. Above his head arcs a national motto, "In God We Trust," while to the left, aligned with his chest, is the word liberty. To the right of Lincoln's portrait is the date 1944, accompanied by a mint mark where applicable, D for Denver and S for San Francisco. Philadelphia coins, as customary for the era, carry no mint mark. On well-preserved examples, Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline exhibit strong detail, while heavily circulated coins often show flattening in these high points. The overall simplicity and dignity of the obverse design contributed to the coin's long-lasting popularity, as Lincoln became the first U.S. president to appear on a circulating coin. The reverse back retains Brenner's equally iconic wheat ears design, which ran from 1909 to 1958 before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. At the top appears the motto E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the American states into a single nation. In the central field, occupying the most space, is a denomination 1 cent, boldly presented in plain block letters for clarity. Beneath that, in slightly smaller lettering, is the inscription United States of America, clearly identifying the coin's issuing nation. Along the left and right rims are two stylized stalks of wheat, curving upward to partially enclose the inscriptions, giving the coin its nickname of the wheat penny. These wheat stalks symbolize prosperity, nourishment, and agricultural productivity, values deeply rooted in the American identity, especially during the challenges of the wartime 1940s. On higher-grade specimens, the fine lines of the wheat grains remain crisp, while heavy circulation often smooths these details into less distinct outlines. The historical background of the 1944 cent is especially significant. Just a year before, in 1943, the U.S. Mint experimented with zinc-coated steel cent to conserve copper for wartime production of ammunition and military equipment. However, these steel cents proved unpopular with the public. They rusted easily, stuck to magnets, and were often mistaken for dimes. As a result, in 1944, the Mint resumed using copper for cents, sourcing much of the metal from recycled wartime shell casings. This led to the nickname shell case cents for 1944 to 1946 issues. These coins carried with them not just monetary value but symbolic weight, as they were literally forged from the remnants of the nation's struggle in World War II. The massive mintage of 1944 cents, over 1.4 billion from Philadelphia, 430 million from Denver, and 282 million from San Francisco, reflects the enormous economic activity of the time, with coins being needed in every corner of daily life, from purchasing ration goods to sending change to soldiers overseas. In terms of rarity and value, the 1944 cent in general is very common, especially in circulated grades, where it typically trades for a small premium above face value. Millions remain in existence, and they frequently appear in wheat cent rolls, coin jars, and old collections. However, well-preserved uncirculated coins with full red luster, graded MS65 red or higher, are considerably scarcer and can be worth much more to collectors. Variations in coloration, red Rhode, red brown RB, and brown BN, greatly affect value, with bright red uncirculated examples being the most desirable. Additionally, the year 1944 is famous for several rare mint errors. Among the most legendary is the 1944 steel cent, a rare transitional error caused when leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally struck in 1944. Only a handful of these are known from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and they can sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Another notable error is the 1944 D/S mint mark, where dies originally prepared for the San Francisco Mint were reproposed at Denver, resulting in a visible overlap of the D and S mint marks. Collectors highly prize such pieces for their rarity and historical interest. Beyond its numismatic value, the 1944 cent embodies a story of a nation at a crossroads. It circulated widely during the final battles of World War II, through the Allied landings in Normandy, the liberation of Europe, and the Pacific campaigns leading up to victory in 1945. For millions of Americans, it was an everyday object exchange for food, newspapers, bus fare, or tucked into a soldier's pocket as a reminder of home. Today, it serves as a tangible link to that pivotal moment in history. For collectors, it offers an accessible entry point into wheat cents, as common examples are inexpensive, while rare varieties provide thrilling opportunities for advanced numismatic pursuits. In essence, the 1944 Lincoln wheat cent is more than just a coin. It is a copper witness to war and recovery, unity and sacrifice, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. It remains one of the most iconic and widely recognized American cents, treasured equally for its affordability, symbolism, and the fascinating stories it carries from a nation in the midst of one of its greatest trials. The 1953 United States 1 cent coin, popularly known as the Lincoln wheat cent, represents an important part of mid-20th century American coinage, both for its historical context and for its design elements. Struck at the Denver Mint, as denoted by the small D mint mark just below the date on the obverse, this coin belongs to the long-running wheat cent series, which circulated from 1909 until 1958. The coin is composed primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was a standard alloy used in most Lincoln cent from 1909 until 1962, except for the wartime steel issues of 1943. The coin has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.55 millimeters, and weighs 3.11 grams, making it a small yet highly durable denomination. The obverse of the 1953 D cent features the enduring profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, as designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Above Lincoln's head runs a national motto, "In God We Trust," which had been a permanent fixture on U.S. coins since the late 19th century. To the left of Lincoln's portrait appears the word liberty, symbolizing the values he defended during his presidency, while the date 1953 is clearly inscribed to the right, accompanied by the D mint mark, identifying the coin's origin from the Denver facility. The coin surface and strike quality often vary due to the extremely large number of coins minted that year, as billions of cents were needed to satisfy the demands of post-war America's expanding economy. On the reverse side, the 1953 D cent displays the iconic wheat ears design, also created by Brenner, which had been a defining feature of Lincoln cent from their inception until the switch to the memorial design in 1959. At the very top, in bold lettering, appears the traditional motto E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the states forming the American Republic. In the central field is a large denomination inscription 1 cent, rendered in simple block letters for clarity and prominence. Below it reads United States of America, affirming the issuing nation. Flanking these inscriptions are 2 stylized wheat stalks, arching upward along the edges of the coin. These wheat ears were chosen to symbolize both agricultural prosperity and the strength of the American people during the early 20th century. The reverse design is highly symmetrical and straightforward, giving the coin both aesthetic balance and symbolic depth. The wheat cent design as a whole remains one of the most beloved in American coinage history, admired for its classical simplicity and direct representation of national values. The year 1953 itself falls within the Dwight D. Eisenhower presidency, at a time when the United States was experiencing rapid industrial growth, Cold War tensions, and social transformations. Against this backdrop, coins such as a Lincoln cent circulated in every pocket and purse, serving as daily reminders of the nation's democratic ideals and economic vitality. The 1953 D issue was heavily produced, with a reported mintage of 700,515,000 coins, making it one of the more common wheat cents of the decade. Despite this, individual pieces can vary widely in collector value depending on condition, strike sharpness, and preservation. Circulated examples are extremely common and usually trade close to their copper melt value, while well-preserved uncirculated specimens with strong luster and minimal contact marks are considerably more desirable. Mint State Red, MS65 or higher, examples, which retain their full original copper brilliance without toning, can command much higher premiums from collectors due to their scarcity relative to the overall mintage. Additionally, rare die varieties, such as double dies or repunched mint marks, RPMs, exist this year and can significantly increase a coin's desirability and value in numismatic circles. The 1953 D Lincoln wheat cent is not only a utilitarian object of commerce, but also a cultural artifact that bridges the legacy of Abraham Lincoln with mid-20th century America. For everyday citizens, it served as a practical unit of currency used for purchases like candy, newspapers, and bus fare. For numismatists and historians, however, it offers insight into the evolution of American coin design, the importance of minting technology, and the socio-economic conditions of the 1950s. Many collectors today still pursue wheat cent sets by date and mint mark, and the 1953 D remains a key component of such collections due to its abundance, affordability, and classic design. Even though billions were made, finding a perfectly preserved gem is not easy, and thus the coin continues to inspire both casual hobbyists and serious specialists. In this way, the 1953 D Lincoln cent stands as a small but enduring testament to America's economic history, its artistic coinage traditions, and its reverence for one of the nation's greatest leaders. The 1945 United States 1-cent coin, known widely as the Lincoln wheat cent, represents a fascinating piece of mid-20th century American numismatic and social history. Struck during the final year of World War II, this cent carries immense historical value, not just for its design, but also for the era in which it was produced. The coin continued the long-running Lincoln cent series introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The 1945 issue was produced in enormous numbers to satisfy America's expanding wartime economy, and because it was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, there are multiple varieties from this year. 1945, no mint mark, for Philadelphia, 1945D, Denver, and 1945S, San Francisco. Unlike the zinc-coated steel cents of 1943, which will produce a conserved copper for wartime needs, the 1945 cents were once again made from the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc in tin alloy, giving them a warm reddish-brown or brown patina depending on circulation wear and storage conditions. Each coin weighs 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.55 millimeters, making it consistent in physical specifications with most wheat cent struck between 1909 and 1958. The obverse front of the 1945 cent features a bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, a design that has endured longer than any other in American coinage history. Lincoln's profile is sharply detailed on higher-grade coins, with emphasis on his hair, beard, and facial contours. The motto, "In God We Trust," arcs along the upper rim above Lincoln's head, a national affirmation of faith that had become a permanent fixture on U.S. coinage by the late 19th century. To the left of Lincoln's portrait, aligned with his chest, appears the inscription "Liberty," symbolizing the core American value that Lincoln himself defended through the Civil War. On the right side of the coin, parallel to Lincoln's bust, sits the date 1945, which may or may not be accompanied by a small mint mark below it, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark. The fields of the obverse on well-struck pieces are typically smooth and even, while circulation-worn examples show flattening, particularly on Lincoln's cheekbone, hairline, and jaw, which are high point of relief prone to wear. The reverse back of the 1945 cent retained Brenner's original wheat ears design, which remained in use from 1909 until the memorial reverse replaced it in 1959. At the very top, in fine lettering, is a historic motto E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the diverse states forming a single nation. Below this, dominating the central field, is a large inscription 1 cent, presented in bold block letters for clarity and emphasis. Beneath the denomination appears United States of America, leaving no doubt as to the issuing authority. Along both left and right sides of the coin are stylized wheat stalks, curving upward to form an arch framing the inscriptions. These wheat ears symbolized agricultural prosperity and sustenance, grounding the coin's imagery in both patriotic and practical themes. On well-preserved coins, the wheat stalks display intricate lines and kernels, while on heavily circulated examples these details tend to smooth out over time. The historical context of the 1945 cent adds greatly to its significance. This coin was struck during the year that World War II came to an end, with victory in Europe declared in May and victory over Japan in September. Millions of Americans were still serving overseas, and the economy was shifting from wartime production to post-war consumerism. Cents minted in 1945 would have been used by soldiers returning home, families rationing goods, and children buying candy or newspapers in a time of national relief and optimism. With mintages exceeding over 1 billion coins combined across all mints, the 1945 cent will produce in extraordinary quantities, reflecting the heavy demand for coinage in circulation. Specifically, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion pieces alone, while Denver and San Francisco contributed hundreds of millions more. Because of this, the 1945 cent is considered one of the more common wheat pennies and is readily available to collectors today, even in high grades. In terms of collectability and value, circulated 1945 cents are extremely common and are often found in bulk wheat cent rolls or mixed lots. They generally trade for a small premium above face value, mostly tied to their copper content and collector interest. However, uncirculated specimens, especially those retaining their original red mint luster, graded MS65 red and above, can command much higher premiums due to their eye appeal and relative scarcity compared to the overall mintage. Coins that are toned brown or red-brown are valued lower but remain collectible. Furthermore, error varieties exist for the 1945 cent, including repunched mint marks, RPMs, die cracks, off-center strikes, and double dies. These errors can make an otherwise common coin quite valuable, sometimes fetching significantly higher prices in auctions or specialized collector markets. For serious numismatists, assembling a full set of 1945 cents from all three mints in top condition can be both a rewarding and historically meaningful pursuit. Beyond its numismatic aspects, the 1945 Lincoln cent symbolizes the resilience of the American people during a transformative era. For everyday citizens of the time, it was simply a practical coin used in daily transactions. Yet, in retrospect, it carries the weight of history, minted as soldiers fought abroad and then returned home to build a new post-war America. It reflects continuity, too. The same design that began in 1909 persisted through the Depression, the war, and into the modern era, making the Lincoln cent not just a unit of commerce, but a thread connecting generations of Americans. Today, the 1945 cent remains popular among collectors and history enthusiasts alike, offering both affordability and historical depth. Its simple wheat-backed design and enduring portrait of Lincoln make it a timeless classic in U.S. coinage, bridging the values of liberty, unity, and perseverance across a century of American life.